What is up, champs? Champion Trucker coming back at you with a new video. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the cost of living epidemic. Are truck drivers on par for pay? Or are we left out on the road without any tow truck in sight? We're definitely going to be looking at that and more here coming soon. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and also if you've been a reoccurring viewer and definitely want to support this channel, I am not concurrently monetized. You can follow and subscribe to my Patreon down below. You get exclusive access to the Discord. You also get fitness over the road tips, recipes, and more. If you're interested, again, please help me out and subscribe to my Patreon. Again, hit that like button, subscribe, follow me on Instagram at PAPAHOTCH, Papa Hotch, for any kind of DMs that you want to send my way for topics or any videos for me to react to. And with all that in the way, let's go ahead and roll that intro. So the first one that I want to watch is how truck driving became one of the worst jobs. It goes over everything that we know as truck drivers. If you're not a truck driver, just understand that this is going to hit a lot of points. We're going to read some comments, and then we're going to move on to some articles that enlighten how truck driving has deteriorated and how the cost of living just ain't keeping up.
Truck drivers from all over the US are exhausted, underpaid, and frustrated.
Long durations, long miles throughout the day to get stuff where it needs to be.
Truck driving used to be one of the best blue-collar jobs around. A strong union fought for high wages and good working conditions, but it didn't last. The average salary for the industry is about $50,000 a year. With their long hours, that means many drivers are working for less than minimum wage. And for the last decade, truck drivers' jobs have gotten even harder, and they often work around the clock. Hours that match up to 2 full-time jobs.
Trucks are the backbone of the country. If we stop, everybody knows this country stops.
I mean, if you're a truck driver, you already know that some companies, they'll push you. Your 10 is up just from that minute, you're gone. Your 10 hours are up, you're gone. And so if you're an owner operator and you're out there, you're working even double, because if you dispatch yourself or if you let somebody else dispatch you, you have to chase the money unless you're sitting pretty and you paid off that truck. A lot of us are severely underpaid because just think of this. Not every company's like Walmart where if you sleep in the truck, you get paid. A lot of us are out somewhere gone and we don't get paid $10, $20, $30 to stay in our truck. So that's time actually in work. Like, just imagine if you were in your office and they said, hey, you have to sleep here. We don't pay you, but you have to sleep in this office. You don't get paid for that. And a lot of unions back then, and I'm not saying that we should unionize, I think it could be a plus and minus with that, but a lot of unions fought for, again, like the video said, a nice workplace, reasonable hours. Back in 2008, cents per mile wasn't something, it was previous to 2008. That's where all of our problems started, 2008. And we'll look at that. Let's go ahead and read the article. So this is how bad society is. And if you're not a truck driver, this is data that you should understand. But back in pre-mask, and I'm talking about mask, like before we had to put on mask, pre-mask, eggs were $1.40. Oh, okay, that's cool. 2020, $1.51. That makes sense. You know, 11 cent hike. 2021, $1.67. Okay, things are getting a little up there. How about we chill? 2022 eggs were $2.86. If you think that eggs are the only thing that has went up, I'm talking about chocolate bars went $1 over in 1 year. In 1 year, inflation literally kicked itself up a notch, and it's still going up. So how did we get here? How do we get here? Obviously due to one thing called, you know, the mask era. I call it the mask era, where everybody had to put on a mask and we all had a parade. And then people start rushing to stores. We started chugging money into the economy. People started spending more, but then everything slowed down suddenly. And so now prices have not came down. And do you think that America believes in prices going down? What the heck? So let's look at the low wages. Truck drivers used to be well compensated. Again, it used to be. And truck drivers used to be like, everybody was like, do the horn, do the horn. Now within city limits, you can't do the horn. That's illegal. If you didn't know, now you know. Low wages. Truck drivers used to be well compensated for the long hours they put in. That's not the case anymore. Deregulation has had a profound effect on the transportation industry, with truck drivers' salaries based on what the market is willing to pay. See, it used to not even be on that system. It didn't actually go off of, inflation. It didn't go off of spending. It used to be just kind of, hey, everybody needs this, so we're going to have a steady amount of it. Now it's a stock market. Anyway, let's get back to it. In many cases, some drivers' earnings are so low that the long hours and time away from family and home just aren't worth it. Additionally, the majority of drivers aren't compensated for all the time they put in. What did I say? Drivers are typically paid based on mileage rather than the additional time spent behind the wheel and other activities. Now, again, I do have to, thank God. My job is where I get mileage, my stops and everything. I would like to get paid for staying in the truck. I would like that. I think anybody that has to sleep in the truck, you should get paid for that. You're still on the clock. But of course, regulations would go ahead and be like, oh, okay, that's time spent in the truck. We can only have them. And it'll make the job harder. But anyway, if they're held up in traffic, at a roadblock, or at warehouses while waiting for load or unload, they aren't paid for that time. Time is precious. Time is something that you're not going to get back. And the fact that companies are literally, due to the deregulation of hours spent on the road, you're not even paid. It should be mileage. It should be hours. It should be stops. It should be live load, unload. It should be drops and hooks. Unfair treatment. Not all carriers treat their truck drivers with dignity and respect. A company that pays based on mileage system, for example, might expect drivers to take on additional chores while waiting for their next load without receiving additional compensation. Safety inspection, meeting attendance, and loading and unloading their trailer are some of the tasks that fall under this category. I believe I actually do get paid for long training. But not everybody's like that. And this video stems off of the problem that we were talking about within, the problem that some people see and the problem that we're actually facing with migrants becoming truck drivers. All of this, they don't care. They don't care. These might be necessary things to do, but drivers aren't paid for them. High risk, and I'm not going to read all that. We all know how high risk it is. You're dealing with buffoons on the road, truck drivers alike, or just, four-wheelers, or even the hot shots. Let's go over truck drivers and wages. So that was actually supplychainbrain.com. All the links to all of these articles will be down in the description. So bestlawyers.com, minimum wage violations, pay by the mile or by the task. Truck drivers are frequently paid by the mile or piece rate base. Or on a piece rate base, such as by the trip. While this pay structure is permissible, a violation of state and federal minimum wage law occurs if the total wage you receive by the day divided by your hours work fall below the federal minimum wage. See, a lot of companies, that doesn't matter. Example, Bob is paid $100 to make a single round trip delivery. It takes Bob a total of 8 hours to make the round trip delivery. Bob's hourly rate for his 8 total hours of work is $12.50. So no minimum wage violation has occurred. Now that's $12.50. If that's actually how much some of us are actually getting paid, $12.50, and within the day working a 14-hour. Sue is paid 30 cents per mile. Sue drives 200 miles round trip to make a delivery for a total of $60. Ooh. However, inclement weather and traffic accidents delay Sue's trip. She ended up spending a total of 9 hours making this delivery. Her hourly rate is $6.67. $6.67, which is a violation of federal and Ohio minimum wage laws. When calculating your total hours worked for the day, you should also include the time you spent performing non-driving work. such as inspecting cargo or waiting for cargo to be loaded or unloaded. Since pay structures that compensate employees by the mile fail to take this time into consideration, the addition of this non-driving time into your calculation of wage owed could add up to minimum wage violations. I like what one of my truck driving buddies said to me. He said that, hey man, count how many hours you're sleeping in the truck. Now, I love sleeping in the truck. I love it. But it is hours in an office. And a lot of people don't look at that way. And you probably didn't even look at it that way. A lot of us get into this industry. They were like, okay, I'm glad to be in it. Then we start getting this phase that's like, I hate it. Then you start loving it. And you're like, okay, but shouldn't there be more? Shouldn't I be making more? If you're unloading the truck, you should be making more. So let's look at this. I have to go by my state, Indiana, but 65,000 is the annual today, right? And it doesn't break down how much, but that's $31 per hour. $31 per hour. Realistically, if we do $31 per hour and you're getting paid that plus your miles, your annual will be a lot higher. You'll be in the high 95. That would be the median. So eggs doubling, almost doubling in the year. Hold on. Eggs almost doubling. Look at this. $1.67 plus $1.67 from 2021 to 2022. That number is not far off. 286. And if it were to double, being 334, it's not off. And that means that wages should have doubled to compensate for what's going on within the market. But no, truck drivers are now earning way below minimum wage, including time away from home, time away from family, time away from activities. We are slaves. Truck drivers are slaves. Now, some of us are actually sitting nice and pretty. You know, we're still slaves, but we're in that house. We're in the house. We're a house ninja. But this is a problem that we as truck drivers, we just sit there and we're like, okay, we're going to drive. There's too many problems going on right now. So the last thing that I want to bring up is the statistics back in the average cents per mile, 2008. And we'll go over where did cents per mile become a thing instead of time. It actually dipped in 2009. It dipped in 2019 from 2018. You were making a lot more in 2018. And it's all because it's based on stock. It's like stock. It's all about how the market is doing. It's not about, hey, we need truck drivers, and regardless of truck drivers getting paid, you know, we're going to take a loss. A lot of these companies are not in it. They're not in it for taking a loss. They want to gain. And so with 2020 being 57 cents, we're actually we're getting paid lower and lower and lower. And this is only from 2020. So if we can see what's going on today, it might be up. It might be up to where it's back in 2018 used to be. But nevertheless, we're still getting paid significantly lower. So can a truck driver afford to live? No, you have to literally work. It's by your miles. It's by your hours. So if you were to, let's just say, work 3 days and complete probably 30 some hours within 36 hours within those 3 days, you're not going to be able to pay for nothing, nearly nothing. 4 days, you'll be broke. You'll be broke. 5 days, okay, all right, you're just barely making it. 6 days, great. You're doing it. Hey, you get closer to the 70-hour clock, you're going to finally break it above even. Back then, truck drivers were known for making the big bucks. Now, being a truck driver is considered a joke. We're not respected. We don't get paid. It's like literally a smack in our face. But yet, if we stop, the world stops. Here in the U.S. as we know it. Even the world outside of it. If you don't got anybody, intermodal drivers taking those containers, slapping them onto, a chassis, and rolling them out, even other international companies are going to be hurt. But yeah, you know, they got us. They got us. And the funniest thing is, like, you would look at a bill of lading and how much they're paying for all these items, and then you're taking, it's like $21,000 for that load. They'll give you $300 of it. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. So if you guys have anything that I missed, and probably this is my first time breaking down statistics and numbers like this, so I'll get better as we go along. Make sure to subscribe to my Patreon as well. You'll get access to the Discord. You'll get access to workout videos within the truck, recipes so you can cook in the truck, save money, because this is a time where you need to save. It's actually to the point, this is the next subject, where truck drivers have a side income to compensate for what's going on here. All right, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch all of you champs in the next one. Peace.